All right, so today we're going to learn how to factor trinomials. So first off, what's a trinomial? That's going to be something in this form, usually. Oops. ax squared plus bx plus c. That's usually that's the typical form of a trinomial. So what we're going to go ahead and do is practice factoring these. So basically, how you approach these is you need to factor it into two binomials. So for today, we're going to only factor trinomials with a leading coefficient of 1. You see how there's no leading coefficient there? That tells you that the leading coefficient is 1. So basically what you need to do is figure out what multiplies to give you this number. Oops, and adds to give you this number. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the 7 and write out all of the factors of 7, of positive 7. So we could have 1 and 7, and we could also have negative 1 and negative 7, right? So there actually aren't a lot of factors of 7. It's a prime number, so the only way you can break it down is 1 and 7. So then we have to look, okay, looking at all of these factors, which one of these is going to add to give us a positive 8? Well, looking here, if I do 1 plus 7, that's going to give me my positive 8. So I'm going to put my b's in there. And since it's a positive 1 and a positive 7, this would be my answer. All right. So let's go ahead and try another one. If we look at number 2, again, we need to figure out what multiplies to give us this number and adds to give us this number. So let's write out all of the factors of 10, different ways we can multiply to get to 10. We have 2 and 5, 1 and 10, and then you can also have negative 2 and negative 5, negative 1 and negative 10. So looking at these options, I need to figure out which one of these pairs is going to add to give me a negative 11. You have to pay attention to this sign, all right? So looking at this, it looks like my negative 1 and my negative 10 is going to give me the negative 11. So I'm going to set it up like this with two binomials. Put my ends out in front. Minus 1, minus 10. Now, one thing I want to point out is you can always check your answers on these. These binomials, when you FOIL them out, you should end up with the trinomial that you started with. So let's go ahead and do that real quick. We'll do our f, n squared, our o, minus 10n, oops, our I, minus n, and our L, which is going to be plus 10. So I'm going to combine like terms. I get n squared minus 11n plus 10. So that shows me that I factored correctly. All right, so you want to make sure that when you FOIL these binomials out, you end up with what you started with. All right, so I'm going to go ahead down to the second page and do a couple from there. So let's go ahead and try, actually, you know what? I changed my mind. We're going to go ahead, let's do number 11. All right, so we have to go ahead and factor n squared minus n minus 56. So let's go ahead, we're going to write out the factors of negative 56. All right, so there are a lot of factors of 56. All right, so we could go ahead and we'll say negative 1, oops, and positive 56, positive 1, and negative 56. We could say positive 2 and negative 28, negative 2 and positive 28. We can also do negative 7 and positive 8, 8, oops, negative or positive 7 and negative 8. We could also do 14 and negative 4, negative 14 and positive 4. So Sometimes when when you end up with a lot of factors, you can kind of stop and, check and see if any of these work, right? So let's go ahead and check. We got to figure out which of these pairs is going to add to give us a -1. All right, so let's go ahead. This guy doesn't work. This guy doesn't work. Doesn't work, gives us -26. Gives us +26. This one gives us +1. But these guys, you see that? That's going to give us a -1. All right, so I can stop right there. I'm going to do n plus 7, n minus 8. And that would be my answer there. Let's go ahead. Let's do one of these down here. So number 17. Now, if you notice, this one has a leading coefficient. But the ones we're going to do today, you're able to factor that leading coefficient out. So we end up with 2k squared plus 11k plus 30. All right, so I just factored that leading coefficient out. Then all I need to do is factor this guy. So we're going to do it the same way. We've got a 30. Let's write out all of the factors of 30. So we end up with 3 and 10. We could have -3 and -10. We could have 30 and 1, -30 and -1, 15, and 2, and 2, -15 and -2. And then let's do 7, or I'm sorry, not 7, 5 and 6. And we could do -5 and -6. So let's go down the line, see if any of these add up to -11. All right, so these add up to 13. That's not going to work. -13, 31, -31, 17, -17, 11. Oop. Look, we got our 11, right? So we could go ahead and factor. So we've got 2k plus 5, k plus 6.